All right, guys. So we last met 3 weeks ago. So I'm just going to just cover some of the things that's taken place before we start talking about the new things that are for discussion for this meeting. So one of the things that took place, as I mentioned in our Slack chat, was we deprecated, or we dropped support for 3000. So if I go to the Salt image builder, just look at the merge request there, just so we see what's been taking place. Now, so recently it was just these. So it was deprecating 3000.9, and actually was able to do two things there because, as I was going to cover next, the Ginger 2 issue was actually fixed. So let me just see what the specifics were again. Right, so there's two things here. So someone provided a fix for the Ginger 2 situation. It was a very simple fix, actually. If we just have,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is Ginger 2 version 3 actually Ginger 3, or is it Ginger 2 version 3?
The way I understand it is Ginger 2 version 3. So I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I don't know what the situation there is exactly. Do you know a little bit more, Daniel?
Well, as far as I understood, there is no really breaking change. The global Jinja is the same concept, etc. And it's not a completely new templating system. The difference between Jinja and Jinja 2 was too much. So he renamed Jinja to Jinja 2, but now the language is stable.
Okay, so the language is stable as Ginger 2, but this is just a new version of it, a new major version. Right. In terms of the actual PR that was submitted, I'm not going to pretend to understand it like is in detail, but it was just simply they had to move something into the globals, some of the context and stuff that was actually containing those salt variables that we needed. So it was literally only these two lines needed to be changed, and once that was done, Ginger 2 version 3 was working for us now. So when that happened, we pulled out, and it wasn't in every single platform we could do it, because actually linked to this, I think, was the issue. Where's that main issue gone? I think at the bottom of this, the first thing I did was remove our little workaround across all of our images. Sorry, this is better over here. So using, I think it was the template formula. Yeah, we can see in the bottom left there. So I was doing a before and after comparison with our current, or at the time, the current pre-salted images with the template formula, and everything was passing, and then completely removing the Ginger 2 workaround from all of the pre-salted images, and to see what would happen. And then these were the ones that were still failing. So meaning these platforms, and you can see they're generally the newer platforms or rolling releases. And what you've got is that they already were coming with Ginger 2 version 3 on the systems. So older versions of Salt, when they're installed on these systems, won't work if they're installed a particular way, that is. So the Git-based one are very rare. Very few people are going to be actually installing, that version on Arch Linux. They'll normally stick to the stable. So what you've got is the ones where the stable is broken. These platforms will still not work until 3004 is released. So it's not really something we can do anything about. I don't know if we're going to sit there. Well, we have a question to ask here. Should we, the fix that's available for us, should we be applying that to our formulas in the meantime until 3004 is released for these particular platforms? I just think that's personally a lot of work for not very much gain. if someone on one of these four main platforms or three main platforms has a problem, I guess we can just inform them that this will be fixed in 3004, or just use this workaround that we've said of downgrading Ginger. Do you get the idea of what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So,
we can communicate around that. Yes.
Yeah, we've already been communicating around it, and we've already got the workaround that we've sort of mentioned. I think it's further up in this thread, so we're linking to that. But meaning, from a formulas perspective, we see this as solved now. It's not something that's a problem of ours that we have to keep fixing, because it's been fixed in Salt and it will be released in 3004. And most platforms won't even hit this error, because by the time they upgrade to Ginger 2 version 3, 3004 will already be released. And so people can just fix it by upgrading to the latest version of Salt. It's only these platforms that might have a problem, and usually they can work around it. Yeah, but at least we know which platforms that might have issues. Okay.
I agree.
Yep. So in any case, what I did is I kept for our pre-salted images, because we are testing across the whole matrix and stuff, then I kept the workaround for those platforms that, for the ones that are failing here, the workaround is still in place. So it's still downgrading Ginger for all of these, for our pre-salted images only. So they will work no matter which one we use, hopefully, because they're still being downgraded. But in reality, when people are using formulas, that won't be available to them, and they'll have to work it out. They'll have to downgrade themselves. But yeah, at the same time, because 3000 is end of life, then that's all those builds have been removed from the Salt image builder. I'm yet to push that through to all the formulas, because I was trying to merge it with the next thing, which was the CVE release that came out, which I didn't actually remember getting any announcement about. It just happened on the day. And then I saw that these three new images were made, or three new versions of Salt were made available. So the recent improvements to the image builder has just been getting those pushed out. And when the other platforms caught up, Arch had to release a new version themselves. Fedora's version normally comes a bit later, and Gentoo was done as well. Gentoo was done more recently. We now have all of those images being pushed out, I think, across all platforms where available. So those are out there now. It's just a matter of finally doing things from the SSF to push this out to all the formulas, so that our CI is running with the latest versions of Salt. So there's that issue. Sorry, my keyboard's playing up here. So that's pretty clear, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, about the Ginger 2, there was one little thing I had to. There was a node formula. There was this PR. This was an original fix before this workaround, before this fix was made in Salt. This was the original way of fixing it, was adding with context to the import YAML. Now, out of all those PRs that came through, I think this is the only one that's been merged. Now, my question is, should we effectively revert this commit, because we don't want to be doing that in any of our formulas? Or should we just leave it in there, since it doesn't seem to be doing any harm?
To me, it doesn't do any harm.
Okay, this contributor also gave quite a number of similar PRs across different formulas. Should we just close those PRs now, because we no longer need it? So what I'm trying to reach is a point of consistency. Either we're going to merge all of the PRs that's been provided with context, or we should maybe close all those PRs and also at the same time maybe revert this one, because it's unnecessary. That's the question I'm kind of asking.
Okay, so personally, I think we should first ask the contributor, if he's okay with reverting and closing the PR to let all our formula the same actually.
David, any particular opinion on that?
Well, I prefer consistency, yes.
Okay, so I think what we'll do, we'll just follow that through and mention why, and let the contributor know why, and maybe just ask them to close their own PRs. I prefer they did that rather than us going through and doing that. Yeah. Okay, and sorry. I think we can move on to the issue of the pillars from directories. So if we go over, sorry, wrong keyboard there. Right, so this PR that's been provided by Daniel. So in terms of the idea that was behind this, which is to separate this file out, this pillar file, into its own file, so that people can run that command as Daniel was saying. Is that idea, I mean, any other thoughts about that idea, whether that's a positive idea to move forward with or not? I can show something I've tried in the meantime. I mean, David, any particular view on that?
Can you repeat what we're talking? Oh, of this.
Yeah, sorry. This
moving-
PR that we spoke about.
Moving
Daniel,
from
do you want to explain it?
a pillar from files or something. Pillar top
Yeah.
from file.
Yes, pillars from directories. The idea was to put the test pillar instead of kitchen.yaml, to put them in dedicated files under the test directory. So we would be able to execute locally sold call without kitchen. The main use is the possibility to I think it's written in the, yes, to do a better lint, a better lint. Yes, I think it's in the description of the PR. You have the command which can be executed running directly with --pillar directory, etc. and sold there. And
here's another example. So it's the same thing. I tried it out in the salt formula in my fork because I wanted to see how it would work when you had lots and lots of suites. And as I said in the last meeting, I didn't think it would be possible to actually clear the suites themselves, like not merge them all into one, because there's other things that are affecting that. But what you get instead is in each section here, you're losing those sections and only getting a pillars from directory instead. So you can see that's throughout each suite. You're only using a directory for each one. And when you get to the actual pillar itself, we've got it in a separate file, and we're relying on Salt's feature there to select which minions or whichever minions running it gets the pillar it requires. So that's the base idea, is to move to using pillars from directories instead, because of the main reason what Daniel brought up in the PR, which was to make it easier for users to be able to try out a formula without having to install Test Kitchen and all the rest of it, or Docker and stuff. They can just run it straight, like the demonstration he gave in the last meeting. And it actually does clean up kitchen.yaml a bit as well. It makes it a little bit cleaner. As you can see, we're losing a lot of lines there because everything's just being passed back to Salt to do kind of the right way.
Yeah, and I looked a little the Java formula, when you have quite a lot of suites.
Yeah.
And I think we could have the pillar directory is a list. So we could have one directory for the common, yes, in kitchen. We can have one pillar directory for the common pillars.
Yeah.
Okay. And then one directory per suites. So we won't avoid having several suites, but it will, well, it's actually the same case, actually.
Is this
from price? Yes, no, there is no, thinking about it, in the Java case, there is no advantages, I think, because we need to specify the specific pillar for each suite.
Right. So
So
it would still be more like what's happened here, isn't it? Where the suites
yeah,
would remain, but you would get a cleanup of kitchen.yaml. All this, which doesn't need to be there now, could simply be
yeah,
under pillars for directories. So we get a cleanup. That's the side benefit. But the main one being what you mentioned here, where it gives people the opportunity to actually test the formula out and see what the output is like before, without running it in any way, so they can have a look and peruse what the formula actually does.
yeah.
Did you say, I mean, because we were just talking before the meeting, before we started recording it, the actual output that comes when someone tries this out, when someone's trying to use state.show SLS, is there a way of making sure that comes out in the same order that Salt will actually run the states?
Yeah, so I put a past in the chat, in the Zoom chat, with the output I
Okay.
had.
Problem. Yeah, I don't seem to be able to get to that chat very easily from here.
I can do it in the working group.
No, one second, I've got it. So if I do that, it should come up now. This one over here, yeah? Okay.
Okay. So you have this is a template formula.
Yeah.
And you see it's not it's actually not in the good order, but you have the order line 92, for example.
Yeah.
You have the order key.
Yeah.
And Salt will use that order key to order the sequence of states to apply. So this is the show SLS, but I should try, because there is a low SLS, and maybe this one is sorted. I'm not sure.
Right, I got you. So I can't remember seeing that order mentioned when we use the YAML format. When you're dumping it to YAML instead, I can't remember seeing the order. So doesn't it do it in the right order directly?
There is an order key. It's not sorted either. It's just
All right,
the
there
dict
is an order
is
key.
simply dump. Yes.
Okay.
So it's not, even in YAML or pprint or whatever, it's not easy to sort the output. It must be done manually, like Salt does.
Okay. So do we need a little bit more here first, or is there something we can do from our side?
No, I think we need to do much more to be able to output that and make a verification test based on that.
Right. It's not, I don't think, so when you say verification test, you mean verifying it compared to what?
Yes, like we do with map data, actually.
Yeah.
You know.
But I think maybe verification would be quite hard work if people were actually having to fill that manually. So maybe more so, as I was again saying earlier, maybe just dumping it. So we had the dumps available there in the repo if people want to see this output already per, for each platform, so they can see it already. I just don't, I can't, this isn't very workable like this though. That's the thing, is without ordering. I mean, I guess it's good because you can still see each state is going to run, but if it could be ordered, that would be so much more useful, I think.
I will try to look at it.
Yeah.
If it can be ordered much more easily.
Yeah. And maybe again, this is quite excessive in the amount of space it takes. Can it be like when it's dumped to YAML and stuff, it's a lot more concise, and it actually looks more like our state files in the first place when it's done in YAML?
Yes. But this is a Salt SSH output because I don't have access to any proper Salt minion, so it's the SSH doesn't support the YAML output.
Oh, the SSH doesn't support YAML. Okay. All right. So in the meantime, so what should we do? I mean, there was another issue here, and this was the actual conversion, where it had a bit of a struggle with, what was it? Right. So Yes, because it changes the name of the it changes the name of the file. What does it change the name of? Let me see.
Yes, it's changing the template
It's changing.
in the kitchen.
Yeah. So as in the pillar, you mean?
Yeah.
So if we go to no, oh, yeah, in
No.
kitchen.yaml, in kitchen, you're right. Yeah. So in kitchen.yaml, what it's doing is it's changing this to just making this clear. So
The pillar from files is taking the
pillar from files is looking,
example.
this gets changed.
Yeah.
That gets changed to the new name of the new name. So I guess what it'd have to do is the script would have to be updated to adjust the name of the file that it's looking for. So I don't have your file here, but what's it called here? Where did you added it in, didn't you, as a pillar file? So this is it here. So it'd have to rename this file over here, wouldn't it? To this template would have to be renamed as well. Is that correct? As part of this script?
I'm not sure because the pillar from directories doesn't require pillar from files.
Okay, so it'd be over here. It doesn't require pillar from files. So
yes, there is just a pillar from directories and the file is there, but it may be used in the
in the
pillar
actual
top.sls. Yes.
Top.sls. Okay, so
Okay.
and that's over here.
Yes. Okay.
And so
the problem is here.
So this
we could maybe replace the template with a default, for example, having a pillar default, and every formula will share the default, or
normally it's default, yeah. So what we're looking at here is, or we could just
rename the file in the directory. Yes,
you could rename the file, or you could remember we can also, what we do with the script as well, we ignore certain files as well. That can also be done if that's useful. I don't know which way around we should approach it, because this like you said, this won't even be in there.
Yeah, but it's only for tests, so the name of the pillar doesn't really matter actually to be renamed or not. So we can have the same name for every formula called default.yaml, .sls, excuse me, instead of template, the name of the file.
It's not that simple really, because when I obviously seeing it from a picture of all the formulas, there's so many variations. Let me try give an example here. If I just, let's see if this helps. It's actually the ones that are folded that are the ones that are problematic. So let's go up here a second. So yes, a lot of them follow defaults, but then you get some which, right, you see this one over here? Any that has a 0 doesn't have a default. It starts with a different suite name altogether. Like this, the apt formula has repositories, and the dev stack formula has the only suite is called Ubuntu. It doesn't even have a default suite. So archive, Java, there's just so many formulas that don't use a default suite. They have a different name as suite 0. So
yes, I don't speak about the suites actually. I speak about the pillar file name.
The pillar, right, but I'm just saying in those formulas, then what you find is the pillar name that it's looking for is not default. Is so which one was that? Let's say not dev stack. Which one was the last one? Let's see. Okay, so let's take the salt formula, for example. And at the moment, you have two things. You have salt.sls and you have the suite name.sls. You have two there. So maybe this is a bit tough to talk about as we're sort of trying to think it out, but essentially what's happening, we need to work out is in that formula conversion, when it takes place, is how to handle this. And whichever way works out best, whether it's renaming the file or whether it's some other value that changes in the top SLS itself, you know, one of them something needs to be adjusted there to make it work.
I think I can try to convert a specific O2 formulas with the external pillar SLS like this PR4 template and see what happened, like we did for Map Jinja several times.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Yeah. Do you have, maybe you just tell me which formula you are interested in, and I will try to make the conversion and see what happened.
You mean a conversion using the template formula,
Yeah.
or?
I will propose a pull request for those formula to make some tests and to see how it can be done, what problem it appears, and how they can be solved.
Okay.
Which formula you're interested in, and I will try.
Okay, let me get back to you on that one, because I can't think of one off the top of my head, and we'll talk maybe in Slack or something, figure out a formula to do this with. But so in the meantime, obviously we can't go through this just yet because this situation with the formula conversion needs to be resolved. But as a general idea, I think we're all agreed that we're saying that this is okay to go forward with this, because you know the examples we're getting, like I said, in the salt formula and stuff, is I think it does clean things up quite nicely. Is going to that pillars from directory. David, is that correct? Would you say, I mean, even just as a cleaner solution, it is a bit cleaner than always maintaining these?
Yeah, sounds fine to me.
Okay, so we just need to figure out these little basics afterwards or beforehand, and then we can go ahead with it. Yeah, so let's see.
Okay.
Right. Got some, anyone familiar with the Iptables formula? Because I've mentioned a few times in the last, about 6 or 7 weeks, we're getting lots of failures on that formula, which is leading to formulas like the firewall D formula and the UFW formula, uncomplicated firewall formula, also being affected. Anyone familiar with that? Or I think I need to find who's been contributing to those formulas, because I think it's something to do with the fact that Iptables is being replaced by NF tables. So we're getting a lot of failures now because of that. And I think the other, again, formulas are being knocked on by that. So who's the main contributors here? I think it might be Javier. Right. So I'll try and discuss it with Javier then separately when he's around, or figure out how to get those things fixed. Okay. And the other one was, how are we doing with David? You know the Windows boxes. Which version of Windows are we in at the moment with them?
Which version of Windows?
Which version of Salt? Sorry, my fault.
I haven't updated them recently, so I think it's 3003.1.
Okay, so should we just wait for 3004 then for the next ones?
I mean, maybe, but I do want to, like, currently it's a bit of a manual process, and I do want to improve that. So
I have the same problem. This is half done by Packer and half by me at the moment. I need to really get it done properly with both. So none of these can really be updated at the moment except for the master ones. But so I understand your predicament. What are you using to do it? Like, how are you doing it?
It's Packer.
Oh, okay. So if we could figure a way of getting it all done in Packer and getting both the Windows.
Yeah, when I say it's kind of manual, I mean, it is all done in Packer, but I guess I have to run it on my own machines here, and at least the Windows 8 process takes about 4 hours. So it's, I kind of have to schedule it, and then, something goes wrong, it's many hours can be wasted. So yeah, there's just I would say a lot of tidying up to be done with it so that it can be run in a more efficient manner.
Yeah. Okay, not a problem. I mean, it's just there. So even if I guess by 3004 is it maybe another good time to look at that.
Yeah, look at it. Yeah, exactly.
At that. All right. And just a little side note, some of these are going to be disappearing soon because they're going end of life. The FreeBSD 11.4 and the OpenBSD 6.8, they won't be around for much longer. I think about another month or two and they'll be gone. And the other thing, just for a little bit of time that we've got left, there's a number of how can I put it? There's not how can I put it? There's a number of issues that have been coming up and PRs, and we're struggling a little bit. So I was hoping to go through just a few of them and just kind of get some general ideas about what we can either say to the person or whether someone can, say, okay, maybe I can take that one on and just deal with that one. So let me see. So there's one in the users formula, which was, where was it? It was 226. Okay, let's just go to it. Go to it manually. Was it a pull request or was it an issue? Must have been an issue. Right. Right, so this was a question about, so these are quite old issues, some of them, and none of us have responded so far, but they're fairly simple, I think, low-hanging fruit, just need to figure out what we want to say to them or what should be done. So the question here is about, you can manage your SSH keys with the users formula, but sometimes on certain platforms, the client, the actual package is missing. So they're asking, should the formula essentially install the package for them, for the users formula, that is. So any thoughts on that? The best idea there? Should users formula really be installing any software?
Personally, I'm not really for that. I think we should have some testing and some warning saying that the SSH keys are not installed because the SSH client is not installed.
Yeah,
But it's a personal opinion.
David, any take on that? I mean, there are a few little installations taking place there.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
There's already some package installed.
Yeah, it's a pseudo package. So again, there's so many things in this users formula as it is, but I don't think it's a good idea maybe to make it a habit to be installing things from the users formula. Shouldn't we be pointing them to the OpenSSH formula instead and saying, put this above the users formula in your high state?
Sorry, I'm muted there. What's the issue? So
the issue is
depends by
you can
SSH binary.
Yeah, you can manage your SSH keys using the users formula, but that has a problem because it can't run that particular state because there's no OpenSSH client package installed. So they're asking, can the formula install the package as well for us? So it's like a myth.
I mean, I have an example that I think from the Vault formula where to do some checking of the downloaded binary, we use a GPG program, and I think there's a dependency, there's a package installed, and so if it's something which is required to run the formula, then yeah, I would say it should be a dependency. If it was something kind of unrelated to running the actual formula, but something that somebody wanted for another reason, then yeah, I would agree not to have it. But yeah, I don't know. I think the formula, if it depends on it to actually run the states, and it probably should have a dependency there with the package installed, and then it should install it. Yeah, I mean, just off the top of my head.
Yeah, one concern I've got is the user's formula touches a lot of different things. And I mean, I was just thinking, I don't know how, what the name of the package is on each
Platform.
Yeah, on each platform, and maintaining that again in the user's formula on top of everything else just seems like a bit of overkill.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
But then the SSH sort of management that the user formula gives is quite, how can I put it? It's quite involved. Like, it does quite a lot. It's not just a side thing. It's not just a side thought. So,
exactly.
So should the formula manage it, or should people be directed to using another formula when that another formula actually provides that? That's really the question. I'm sure it's going to be called different things on. Yeah, it looks OpenSSH clients here. You see, it's not always going to be the same. So the user's formula sitting there maintaining which version or which package to actually install in each system. I think that's a bit too much to expect from, again, OpenSSH clients. There'll be different packages on different platforms. But then should they be pushed towards going to, actually, I don't know if the OpenSSH formula even covers the client package that well. Let's see. Oh, it does have it, OpenSSH client. So if we look in, is there map data here?
Yeah.
As in a verification?
Yeah.
Test, what am I looking for? Integration, default, files, map data, and then let's just try a few different ones and look for client. Yeah, okay, so so it's managing it here. And I feel like in this case, asking, it's all OpenSSH clients so far, and no client here for OpenBSD. So what, Debian was the same. No, OpenSSH client, yeah. So some clients, I don't know. It's not that many different ones though, is there? It looks like it's only one of two. It looks like only one of two. So should it be done? Just to make it a bit easier. So it's things like this. There's little questions like this that need to be asked about these issues that come in, that it's one way or another. It's like, I mean, it's not just a side, it's not an afterthought in the user's formula. SSH is quite well, the whole thing is quite well structured in the sense that you can manage hundreds and hundreds of keys with it. So maybe you don't want to install the OpenSSH formula. I'm not sure. Well, if anyone has any thoughts on that, if they can.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll just repeat. I think if it's core to the formula, then it should manage the dependency itself.
All right, let's look at the pillar example for a minute, and you'll see it does a lot of different things. So this is the middle. Where's the main one? A full list of pillar values. So I'm just having a quick scan through here of other things that might come up. So obviously the sudo package is being installed if it's not available because of that area there. And then obviously here's all the SSH bit here. So I suppose you could argue that that's a very significant portion of what's going on. And Git installed.
Polkit. I saw Polkit line.
Polkit as well, yeah. I think Git is installed as well. Let's see. Oops, missed it.
You are in Vault Formula.
Am I in Vault Formula now? No. Oh yeah, I'm back here. How did I get there? What did I just try to do? I was trying to look
for all the package.
Just wait to see what other. Well, the YAML files, come on. It'd be here, wouldn't it? Doesn't seem to handle, I think it does. I feel like it does install the package.
And if you look for pkg.install.
Yeah, I did. It didn't seem to install it. So it's doing
because
sudos.
the Git configuration is just a file.
Oh, wait
there is no command to run. The sudo runs a
No,
sudo.f to verify.
No. Users formula also does things with the git user as well. You can actually the git config, it can be done. So that will actually use git commands for that. And it is here. Look, you can see it. Package install, you see? It is there, but it's been commented out. So I suppose you're right in a way. I think if the formula is going to support all of that SSH stuff, then it does need to make sure the client's installed. So it's the correct thing to say. Yep, because that's the main 2 or 3 things. And like you said, Polkit as well needs to be checked. So, okay, fair enough. That's something that needs to then be confirmed. Do we agree on that one?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yep, I think so. Like you said, I think that was good. So that's good to discuss that because we wouldn't have really thought that through. There's another one similar to this, or hopefully quite easy to go through. Workout 370. Oh, that's the reason why I was flagging this one as well for discussion. It's because this issue here is where one of the requisites isn't found. So obviously it's probably just a bug in our, as someone's not updated the names properly, the state names. Let's have a look. So yeah, so it's trying to include, it's trying to look for that state, but it's not included. So it's going to be quite simple fix. The question here, or not the question, the thing I was going to mention is where what Daniel's working on there might be helpful here, because in the output that's produced by that, especially if we have it in some way that's available to look at, then we'd be able to see this. Because what I'm going to have to do to fix this is what I normally do when I get this report is I normally run something in Kitchen straight away to try and figure out what's happened by putting in their data. Now, if that's already available, then I don't have to actually run, spend 5 minutes running something to figure something out when it's already there in the repo. How would you normally go about confirming this other than running it? Do you get the thing? Yeah, is
to have the require, if the require name depends of package name,
yeah, but
then
it probably was.
I need to run the state to see what name. Yeah,
you need to run it, but that's the thing. It takes time, and it takes more time to review and figure out what's going on. And line 17. So over here, so it requires a package. Now I'm gonna have to go through and figure out what's going on here. And it's probably there's package install. So what's in package install? So either you go through it manually like this, and you look for each thing. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I'd like to have a policy about this rather than having to do this every time. Where is it? Package install. Now where is it? I think
there is a bug because here it's a variable, but the require is not a variable.
I'm wondering whether. Go on. You're saying something, David? I've got a feeling.
Well, it's looking for the name of the SLS ID, isn't
ID,
it?
yeah,
Which
that's
is
what I was
this
going to say.
long string. So rather than Apache, it'd be that long string.
Long string. That's what I was thinking as well. Now, how do I get before display? It must have been changed in this big refactor over here, where before it would have been. So there's a lot of breaking changes in that refactor. So what would have happened is, like you said, there was a state called just Apache at some point, which is going to be impossible to find like this. But have I lost it? Yep. No, I'm not going to find it like this. No. But yeah, like you're saying, that's changed and it's a broken state. I'm saying is, other than spinning something up to confirm it or manually looking through to figure out what's actually changed, wouldn't having that the dumped state of how the show SLS is for each platform, you can just see it in there straight away. Wouldn't that work?
Yeah, well, the show SLS wouldn't compile properly.
All right, so even that, so that'd be even better.
I believe.
Yeah.
So I think what's going on here is we've got tests, but the tests don't cover this.
But this particular thing isn't running. So really what needs to be done is the kitchen needs to be the states
Yeah.
need to be run. So this state's obviously not being run anywhere.
Yeah.
Just a thought that it's something I mentioned actually a couple of years back when we was
Or
talking.
maybe
Go on.
or maybe the corresponding platform, is it tested or not?
Oh, all the platforms are tested in this formula. I know that. It's just this particular state or this particular SLS file isn't being run, I think. So if we go to kitchen, for example, quickly, but there was a question I had a long time ago, and actually I can bring it up now because with GitLab things are working really, really well. You know, hopefully it won't break anytime soon. But so we've got config modules, and this is mod. Now, where's that going to actually be? Yeah, you see, I think you got to call the specific module, and it's not being called anywhere. So it's not being tested. So here was a question I had a while back. And I think we can do it now, but it's just more so what's your opinion? How about we had it doesn't matter how many, but a particular suite or a couple of suites that make sure every single state in the formula is at least run, even if it's not tested within spec and all the rest of it, it's just run.
That would make sense.
Yeah, a test
So
coverage actually.
Yeah, so even we're not testing with it because writing all those tests is going to be a nightmare. But every state should run. Every single state should run at some point. So all the code is being tested.
Yes.
But to do that, I mean, I guess some formulas have maybe about 7 or 10 different combinations. Is there a way? Is there a clever way that we could kind of short circuit that and make sure it still runs every state without having to have 10 suites to do it?
We can't test every combination because if there is different subcomponents and with different values, etc., there is a combinatory problem, so we can't test everything. But I think we should test at least each SLS file once.
Okay, but then have you seen the PHP formula? It's like there are so many. I will finish soon. It's time's up. Just give me 1 second here. I just want to because I think it's interesting discussion, and I feel like we can do this now. The PHP formula has, I can't remember how many states. I mean, each one of these breaks into so many. I can't.
There is in Salt. There is a function like state.list or something or other list states. So it is possible to programmatically do this. I can't remember the module, but is it state.list states?
Oh, here you go. Here's all SLS files. Can you see all of these?
Yeah,
these are just all SLS files.
So actually, we may not wanted to run everything, to execute everything, but at least the show SLS at least compiles the SLS.
You see now, so it compile it, but it wouldn't run it. So that way we wouldn't run into issues of failing states.
We will see.
We will see the requisites.
Yeah, we will see the requisites. We will see.
And would it complain about a bad requisite?
Yeah. If the name is not present, it will complain. Yes.
So why don't we do the PHP formula then? Here's a formula for you, because this one would really be a tough one to catch out all the things.
Yeah. It has many. Yeah. I can try it. Yes.
Do you want to try it? Because this one's a big one. If you could do this one, because actually I started the process of because it's such a big formula and the map ginger is horrendous. I started the process of the verification files, which are actually in there now. Not that I didn't want to show that. I want to show map ginger. Quickly. Map.ginger. No, where's map.ginger? Oh, it's not ng anymore. There. Right. So the map ginger is probably the scariest map ginger I think we have. So it's 3,000 lines, and it's just lots and lots of repetition and duplication of so many different subsets of platforms and all sorts. I mean, it's terrible. It's scary. And I wanted to, convert it over to the final part, which was, have the verification. No, the verification is taking place. What did I want? I wanted to be able to convert this map ginger into the new type, but I was scared to do so because I've got no clue what's happening with all these other states because they're not being tested. So now if your SLS show SLS thing can work, then that could be a very interesting way to make sure that when we do a before and after, that we get the same result.
Yeah. I
So I
agree.
think this would be a good formula to try it out on.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great if you could do that. All right. Otherwise, there's quite a number of issues taking place in different repos and stuff. We can talk about them next time, maybe in the next meeting we catch up. But yeah, any other things to discuss?
Not for me.
Not
All
for
right.
me.
All right, great. We'll catch up in a couple of weeks, hopefully.
Okay, thank you.
All right, take care.
Okay, cheers.
Okay,
See you.
bye.